Now, before I tell you what the question of the hour is, I want to let you know that this video is actually very special to me because this is the last video that I'll be recording at this age, because tomorrow is my birthday. I will be entering my next rotation around the sun. So I think it's kind of cool that I get to stamp this moment in history via video. Now, before I jump too far, I better tell you what the question is. So the question is, coming up next. Hello. It is so good to see you. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Catrice. I'm glad you're here. And if you come back and hang out with me often, we're acquainted, we know each other. What's up, fam? Welcome back. Today, we are going to be diving into our third episode of the Confidence Brew. And in this episode, we're going to be uncovering, in my opinion, the keys to success. And I'm not even gonna waste your time with building up all the nonsense because I was going to, but I'm gonna jump straight into it because in my opinion, the key to success is to change your tone. That's right, change your tone. Now I'm gonna double up on my keys to success because I think there's one more important thing that we need to do. I think a lot of people suffer from decision paralysis. We suffer from decision paralysis because one, we are super smart creatures. And in that smartness, we are able to decipher all the scenarios that are possible. And I don't know if this was told to me as a child or if I read it somewhere, but I remember kind of going about my life as if there were no right or wrong choices. Let me back that up. Listen, I'm not talking about drugs or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not talking about moral stuff. If given the opportunity to do drugs, don't do drugs. Okay. People are so paralyzed by their decisions because they are very concerned with making the right or wrong choice. I remember when I was going to be making my decision to go to school, and I had already made up in my mind, one, I wanted to go to school. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to school. Two, that it didn't matter what school I ended up at, that I was going to be successful. I was confident of those two things. And so from there, it wasn't whether or not this choice was right or this choice was right or this choice was wrong. These choices were different, and I just needed to figure out which one pulled, tugged, sang out my heart the loudest and the most. And that was the direction I was going to go in because I was never expecting anything to be perfect along those paths. None of the paths have perfect straight lines. That's not how it works, but I did have the decision early on made. And I think that as we're talking about changing our tone, we need to first start with making the decision. Have you actually made a decision of what it is you want? Now, once we have the decision made, now we can start to talk about how we need to change our tone. In my opinion, people are great at communication and poor at communication all in the same breath. And when it comes to communicating, we forget that we're communicating with ourselves, that our brain is picking up on the information that we're putting out to the world. And so the idea of changing your tone, changing how you talk to yourself, is the same idea as paralinguistics, that kind of a change and a shift and how you were talking to yourself. So let me back up and give you like maybe a easier example. I'll also leave the definition of paralinguistics here on the screen if you've never heard of that before, but parents are usually really good at this. I picked up on this in my first career. I was a preschool teacher for a long time, and if you've ever dealt with small children, oh, bless their souls, but they have the attention span the size of a wasp. And so there were several times that I found myself repeating myself. So hypothetically, let's say that there is a child climbing on a chair. Now you know, and I know, and this child probably knows, that he shouldn't be climbing on the chair. So what I would do as the teacher and the person in charge of the situation is I would walk over and I would say, "Excuse me, little Timmy, what's up?" He's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Yo, we don't climb on the chairs, okay? If you climb on the chairs, there's a chance that you could slip and fall, and then you would bonk your head and hurt your head. And you don't want to have a hurt head, do you?" And he'd be like, "No, I don't." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. So little Timmy, I'm going to need you to climb down off the chair. You understand?" And he's like, "Okay." And so you think you have this like just great relationship built with Timmy? He shook his head. He said yes. He pretended that he understood you. But 20 seconds later, I promise you, Timmy is back on the chair, and you're just like, I feel offended. Like, I also feel extremely disrespected. So what happens next is very simple. Now you can take two different routes here, and it depends on which route I would take. Maybe Timmy's new. Maybe Timmy needs to be told twice. And so maybe I might give him that courtesy. Go over there and be like, "Timmy, I understand that you're new. Do you remember when we just had a conversation about you not climbing on the chair?" And then I would go through this conversation that we have, and then I would make him repeat to me what he is and is not going to do. Then I would make him repeat to me why he's not going to climb on the chair. I would also make him repeat to me what could happen if he climbed on the chair and how he wouldn't want to get hurt. Nobody wants that, right? Now, little Timmy is stubborn. I mean, I was stubborn as a child. You wasn't about to tell me nothing. I was about to do exactly what I wanted to do, which is pretty much all children, right? Like, nah, I forgot that you even told me that, or I don't even care, or I didn't process that. But parents know what comes next. Now, you can't take the actual parent route because this is not my child. But what I can do is I can change the interaction that I'm having. I can change the tone of the situation. I can change it from being informative, kind, courteous, thoughtful, to dropping my voice, being extremely direct, and saying, "Get off the chair. We don't climb on the chairs here. I don't want anyone getting hurt. And in order to make sure that you don't get hurt, we don't climb on the chair." I would also probably further that up by, if you want to continue playing here in this school, you are going to not climb on the chair. But that's neither here nor there. You understand that once the tone changes, now all of a sudden Tommy has to sit there and he's like, "Oh, I think she's being serious. I think I don't want the repercussions of climbing on the chair. I think I probably believe her. So I'm probably not going to do that again, or I will face the consequences of standing on the chair." Now I know what you're thinking. How does this translate into my goals? I think the most relatable example I can give is someone who has to take a test. Have you ever asked someone, about a test and how they're feeling about it, and they're just like, "Oh, I hope I do okay. I studied really hard. I hope that I pass the test." And you're standing there and you're just like, and you're standing there listening to this person tell you about their desires to pass the test. But if you are listening to how they're talking to themselves, It's really hard to believe a person who is talking that way. If I don't believe you from the outside, chances are you also don't believe you because of the current tone you are using. And all you would have to do is change the tone. How do you think you're going to do on the test? Oh, I'm ready for the test. I am going to pass this test. I have studied as hard as I can. I have asked all the questions that I could ask. I'm going to give this test my 150%. About to go knock this test out of the ballpark. This test don't even see me coming. This test ain't even ready. Listen, once you start to talk to yourself with a different tone, that conviction will move you. Because once you hear that, your subconscious is filing that information away, and it's like, yeah, I believe you. Like, we're going to pass a test today. I don't know what anybody else is doing, but we about to get in this car and go pass this test. I believe you. And on the flip side of that, when we're hoping that we pass a test, you know, I think that we've tried to study. I'm not real sure of myself. Your subconscious mind hears that too. It makes you second guess the questions that are on the test. It makes you second guess yourself because you have not made a decision, and then you have not spoken that decision with authority, direction, and conviction. So if you want something that is going to help push you in the direction of your goals, first of all, don't hesitate to make the goal. Don't hesitate to have the dream. Don't worry about all the options and scenarios. Make the decision to run swiftly in the direction that makes your heart happy, that makes your heart sing. And once you have made that decision, at all costs, achieve the goal. You're worth it. And on that note, that is it for me today and this rotation around the sun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It would mean a lot to me if you hit the subscribe button in celebration of my birthday. Will you celebrate with me? Hit subscribe. And if you want to know the next time I'm here, all you have to do is hit the bell notification. It'll let you know when I'm here so you and I can hang out. And I'll see you in the next one.